Are you okay? And you're like, man, you only know when you've had too much porn, when it gets boring. And then we're like, Seagull, have you ever reached that limit? And you're like, I've been there, and I've come back, and then I went there again. And let me tell you, life is shit when porn gets boring. And let me tell you, when you can't look at a girl's ass and think, how far can that stretch? That is when you truly want to kill yourself. And then me and Johnny will be like crying, and we'll like put flowers on your grave, and you'll be like behind us, the fuck are you guys doing? I'm not dead. And we'll be like, poor Seagull, he was the best man we've ever had. And then like, you know, we'll visit your grave, and you'll be like under an apple tree someday, and we'll be like, Seagull, are you okay? And you'll be like, dude, look at this apple. And then it will be like carved into a vagina, and it's like, Seagull, how the fuck did you do that? It's like, you want to have sex with it? It's like, my cock is bigger than the apple. And then you'll be like, no, it's okay. I got these pills. They make your penis really small. They fit perfectly into these 6-year-old anime girls. It's the greatest invention ever. And we're like, Seagull, you need some help, man. And you're like, you know, I could use some help. Listen, and then you hand me a whip, and you hand Johnny some ball gags. Go tie those girls up. I'll be over there with the video camera in a minute. And then me and Johnny are just like, Seagull, I think it's time you got your punishment. And then we like tie you up to the tree, and then we leave you there. Then we come back a few weeks later, and we're like, fuck, we forgot about Seagull. And Johnny's like, I know. Oh, let me do Johnny's voice. I know, we forgot about Seagull. Oh, I hope he's okay. And I'll be like, yeah, man, Seagull. And then like we come back, and then like the tree is gone. and then like where did he go? And then we like walk over the hill, and then we look behind it, and then you're like you're like crawling on your fingers and toes, and you're like dragging this fucking tree, and you're literally 2 feet away from where the tree got pulled out of the roots. And we're like, Seagull, how did you pull these trees out of the roots? And you're like, I summoned the great Kamenko, who's a bee dragon god, and he granted me 3 wishes. And I had a sandwich, I got some mustard, and I asked him to get me out of the ground, and he got rid of this tree. And then the Star Force Air Brigade came over, and they dropped food and water, and I just swallowed that shit whole. And you're like, I'm really constipated, I got all this plaster in my stomach. And we're like, Seagull, there's plaster in your stomach? And you're like, yeah, man, plaster. And then like you shit condoms and dildos, and we're like, what the fuck, Seagull? And you're then put in a mental hospital. And once in the mental hospital, me and Johnny and Royce come visit you daily. And for some reason, that black female nurse who has an Adam's apple, Royce and her seem to disappear occasionally when we go. I don't know why. Nothing's going on. I'm sure Royce is just looking at the other insane patients. I would make fun of them too. And then me and Johnny will come up, and we'll be like, poor Seagull. And then like you're in there, and you're like talking, and we're like, who's he talking to? And the nurse says, we don't know who he's talking to. He's been like this for months now. And then like we open the door, and as soon as we close the door, we're like in a fucking forest with anime girls hanging from trees, and limbs are severed and put on spikes and tree branches, and
oh god,
intestines are hanging everywhere, and there's blood, and you're having a tea party with a stuffed animal, and we're like, Seagull, the fuck? And you're just like, you guys, how did you get here? And we're like, Seagull, did you kill these people? And you're like, no, the bear did it, man. I didn't do it. And the bear like looks at you with the puppy dog eyes, and then he looks down at the ground, and then he starts crying. And Johnny just runs over, and he punts that fucking bear, and it goes flying over the sunset, right? And there's this fucking squeak when he kicks it. And then fucking we pick you up, and then we start walking out of the woods, and your hands are blood stained, right? And then while we're walking, like everything gets all old cartoony, and then like the trees and the birds and the fucking asphalt starts humming, and the flowers are like smiling, and I'm like, Johnny, I think we're on an acid trip. And then like we see you like handing out little pieces of paper to like these school kids, and like you're handing out acid to all these people, and it's like, Seagull, stop it! And you're like, I can fly! And then like you turn into a seagull, and then you start fucking flapping your wings, and then you just start running and flapping your wings, and then me and Johnny start chasing you, of course, because we don't want you to hurt yourself, and then like in reality we're on the fucking highway, and you're like, I can fly, guys! And then we fucking get on the off ramp, and you jump off and fucking break your legs. Me and Johnny follow you, and we land on you, and we got you, Seagull. And then like we drag you back to this cabin in the woods, and then like we got to take care of you because we can't take you back to the mental asylum. We can't do that to you, and we're all really hungry. And since you're a seagull, you know, and you already broke your legs, we decide, you know, we'll just cut your legs off and eat them. So that's what me and Johnny eat, and then like you're left there bleeding, and you're like playing with the fucking termites, and the ants are just crawling over your face, into your mouth, into your eyes and shit, and you're just playing with them, and then the fucking termites come out, and they're eating the wood, and then they go inside your head, and they pull out little pieces of your brain, and they're just marching out, and you're having a good time, and you're happy, and you're like, oh, my best friends, and you're just playing with the ants, you're like, oh, you guys are so funny, yeah, you guys, you're my best friends. And then like one ant gets in a fight of another because they're both female ants, and they both want to mate with you, and you're like, oh, you guys can all mate with me. So all the ants march into your penis and inside of your bladder, and eventually it gets infected, and you know your penis will then like sort of turn to pus. That's it, yeah. And then every time you piss ants that are still alive, and the ants colonize inside of you. What?
How is still fucking alive?
Seagull, please. So the ants colonize inside of you, and every time you cough up eggs, ant eggs, which is kind of scary. Surprisingly, you managed to evolve amongst the ants, and you now have ovaries. And you get in a fight with the queen ant, and you win because you step on her with your thumb. Because now you have to walk on your hands, obviously. You don't have any legs. And when you squish her, then all the ants rejoice, and all of them jump at the same time. And when they land, your fucking insides all just break open, and they just pour out, and your ribcage is fucking frayed, and it's got holes in it because all these ants are just colonizing inside of you. And then you're like crying, and you're like, oh my god, I need those guts. Those are my favorite guts. And it's like you want your large intestine or your small intestine. You have a choice, large intestine, small intestine. And then you don't know, so you start like testing the elasticity of it, seeing which one is better used as a straw. You're like doing jumping ropes with it, you know, you're trying to make sure that it's got enough swing in it. You don't want it to be too light, you don't want it to be too heavy. Eventually, you pick your large intestine. And then you pick your large intestine, and you're like, oh, this is the shitty intestine. So you pick your small intestine, and then you're like, oh, this is a shitty intestine too. It's like, well, whatever. And so you start pulling it out of you, and then you realize that it's connected to your asshole. And so you're like, fuck me, right? So then you have to cut your intestine from inside above your asshole off, and then now you have this intestine. Well, you didn't have any ropes, so now all these anime girls, you just look around you, and there's just anime in the real world. You don't know why there's this anime girl. She's a little schoolgirl, and you're like, okay, well, I have these intestines, I might as well bondage them like that. And then the ants begin to march inside of this girl's head, and now you're commanding them, and as you're commanding these ants to totally just, you know, tear this girl apart, you realize, hey, what's the best way to tear someone apart?
I don't know.
You don't? I think you do. With a hacksaw, silly. So you go to work on in between her legs, and you're going to cut her down from middle of her legs down to her head, right? Because she's hanging upside down. So you begin with this hacksaw, and she's screaming and screaming and screaming. And then I, being Fish Kilroy, ask, Seagull, do you have a squeaky door in your background? You're like, oh, no, yeah, there's a squeaky door, Fish. And I'm like, oh. there it is again, and you're like, yeah, it's a squeaky door, and I'm like, Seagull, we're gonna come to your house someday, and it's just gonna be anime girls in the real world, and we're gonna be like, what the fuck?
Oh god, all of that, I remember that's from the squeaky door.
Did you lose conversational sight?
I did. Freaking forgot it was from the squeaky door. Oh god.
Why you'd cut a girl in half from her pussy lips to her head, I don't know, but according to you, it's the best way.
People think, well, it's just a part of growing up. You know, kids are going to be kids. This is how the way it's going to be. You know, they don't know how to identify the bullies. You know, there's all kinds of reasons for why.
Kids don't know how to identify the bullies. You go into any elementary school, who's the cool kid? Everyone will point to the one person. That's the bully.
Yes.
You want to know who the bully's friends are? You have to punish them too. Who are your best friends? Those 3 people. Fucking. Do you want to know who the tramp will be? In fucking, what, they're 5, so 15, no, not even 10 years. They're 5 and 6. In 10 years, who's going to be the tramp? Coolest person's girlfriend. Now, who secretly has a crush on the cool person? Which is that? If it's a gay guy,
It's a gay guy.
they're probably going to kill themselves before they're 15, so I wouldn't worry about it. And if it's female, that bitch and the other bitch will forever compete in his limelight. That is society. That's the world we live in today.
That's life.
And a good one at that. Oh yeah. Dang it. It's not a bong, it's just brisk iced tea. Raspberry niggas.
No.
This, however,
Stoner, no.
happens to be Bread Man. Do you participate in anything illegal, such as
No.
you don't drink,
No, I
don't
don't.
smoke,
Nope.
don't chew,
Nope.
anal insertions?
Maybe. By anal assertions, no.
I mean prostate milking.
Oh, yeah, no.
Fuck. Oh man, I gotta. Give me a second. I gotta like get this. Wad.
I gotta restart my computer. No.
Yeah, no shit. Listen, talking about all this homosexuality, I gotta go restart my computer. I'll be right back. But you and me, buddy, we're going to heaven together.
Heaven.
Or hell with the lesbians. I don't know. Either way.
Just for the lesbians.
Either way, fuck it. Okay.
Good either way.
We gotta finish this video.
Here's
I'm gonna have to edit so much. Okay.
We don't get involved.
You don't.
And we have to get involved.
Fuck you.
Because our kids are
I'm
going
still listening to that gay
I'm
guy.
done with this.
You are. Shit.
What?
You're still listening to that gay
No, it was a
guy.
different guy. Well, yeah, he was gay.
He was gay, but still.
How to prevent homosexuality.
Stay away
Gay
from
life. Protect yourself. Use the condom.
Stay away from the windows.
Stay away from the windows. I love it.